This meeting is being recorded.
Okay, so let's start the meeting. So if I could just ask everyone if they could just mute themselves unless it's your turn to talk, just so we don't have too much feedback cutting in and out of different people. I will kind of police it as we go, but all right, so let's just get started. Glenn, as far as roll call goes, did you just want to take it from the list?
Yeah, I'll just go down the list of officers from the directory. So President Chris, you're here. Northern New York Vice President Dan Ladd, he's here. Vice President Central Western New York, Dave Fagora is here. And Vice President Southeastern New York, Tom Schlichter is here. I'm here as recording secretary. Leo Maloney, apparently he's not here, at least for now. Membership Secretary Stephen George is here. Board of Directors, Directors Deb Brosen is here. Mike Hauser, Mike, are you here? He's absent. Bob Hankey, he's absent. Chris Kenyon, absent. Steve Pyatt.
He won't be here tonight. He's got something going on right now.
And Rich Redmond, not here.
Oh, I'm getting a phone call from Leo. Excuse me 1 second.
Okay. Immediate past President Charles Whittick III is here.
Charlie, you're the third?
Yes, I am.
I never knew that.
Although right now I'm the sole survivor, so.
Well, I see Frank Campbell there. That's good. Hey, Frank.
Hello, everybody.
Okay, that was Leo. He just got back. He needed help finding the link. I just sent it to him, so he should be hopping on here in a few minutes. So, okay, so did we get, sorry, did we get?
Yeah, we've gone through it.
Okay.
Yes.
Reading of the minutes.
Okay, I have the minutes available from last year. Typically, oops,
Motion to dispense.
yeah. The motion to dispense with the reading of the minutes by Dave. Is there anybody who seconds that?
Second,
There you go.
Okay. So now, any discussion on that? All right, then we take a vote, Chris.
All in favor of moving on with the minutes?
Aye.
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 Opposed? Okay. Thank you. Receiving communications. Have we anything that we need to talk about? I don't believe so. Okay. Leo is next with the election of officers. Do we want to wait for him to hop on? Can't hear you, Glenn.
I think we need to. He's the chairman of the.
Yeah.
nominating
All right.
committee.
So do we want to just move on from there? We'll come back to that.
Sure.
Okay. All right. Reports of officers. Let's see, where'd everybody go? Everyone keeps moving on me. David, you want to start?
Boy, reports of officers the past year. Kind of interesting. Walleye was a real big issue in my area. They changed the limit of walleye on Oneida Lake from 3 to 5. Huge thing, which is going to be written. I'm going to be writing more about this, but the whole idea of Native Americans going and spearing walleye during the walleye spawn next to the DEC hatchery in Constantia. That's going to be an issue. Watch out for that. There was a law that basically passed both houses that's going to that was going to give them rights to do this, and it was vetoed by the governor. And they're coming up with some sort of compromise as far as what Native Americans can do and can't do under their rights, under their treaty. Huge thing to watch. Couple other things. The salmon, the stocking of salmon was increased on the Lake Ontario because the alewife population is coming back. That said, what's also happened this year is that because of COVID, the last 2 years, the application of lampricide in the streams, the tributaries of Lake Ontario, were put on hold. And this year, you know, charter boat captains and anglers alike are seeing like a 30-year high of lamprey on their fish. That's going to take a couple of years to kind of calm down, because they've resumed the lampricide treatment, but it was a big thing in 2022. We also had drought and a lot of implications on that as far as trout streams. That's about it. I mean, there's, you know, several small things, you know, like, you know, smallmouth bass record, state record caught on Cayuga Lake. Some projects that were done in our area, but I think those are the big hits for 2022. Unless Frank wants to add anything from your neck of the woods.
No, I think
guess-
you were pretty accurate.
Okay,
Okay, great.
thank-
Great, thanks, David. I appreciate
Yep.
it. Tommy, you want to give your report, or are you back from space yet?
Hey, Chris, I just figured out how to unmute this. Can I ask David a question?
Yeah, sure. Go ahead.
David, on that walleye situation, is that a revitalization of an old right, or is it something that is proposed as a new right?
No, I mean, I'm actually working on a story about that right now. But the thing is, you know, it goes back to the fact that treaties that were decided by the federal government supersede state law. And I guess it's one of those things that Native Americans in the know are sort of saying, well, wait a minute, does that mean we can blah, 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 blah? And the precedent is yes. There's a lot of stuff that they can do that I'm sure is going to drive sportsmen up the wall. But they're trying to work out a compromise right now in the state to this. But I mean, out in the Pacific Northwest, they've actually had what they call fish wars, where there's been shootings and, you know, Native Americans coming into tributaries where, you know, salmon are spawning and netting and anglers getting ticked off, and there's got to be some sort of compromise reached, but it's sort of like they are going at rights that they've probably had for the past 200 years. And it's gonna collide with our DEC regulations. There's probably gonna end up being two sets of regulations, those for you and I and those for Native Americans. So stay tuned on that.
Thank you.
Did that answer your question?
Yes, it does. Thank you.
Okay, I just got it. Thank you, David. I just got an email from Tommy. He's having some technical difficulties, so we'll come back to him. Dan, are you there, Dan?
I am.
All right, you want to give your report?
Sure. I'll just touch on a few things that we haven't included in the newsletter along the way, or will be the next newsletter. We're obviously lucky that our deer season is open now. The regular firearm season opened this past weekend. We had a good weekend. We got 2 bucks on Saturday, a real nice 8-pointer and a smaller 6. I saw 2 bucks and never pulled the trigger. Saw a lot of deer. It was a surprising, pleasantly surprising opener, because we've been finding in the early part of the season, the bow hunting and the muzzleloading, that deer are pretty spread out over here. It's not a good mass crop year. We don't have much for acorns, beech nuts, apples fell early, at least around here. Maybe Megan or Steve and Jared are seeing some things that are a little different where they are, or anybody else in the northern zone. But for here, it's been that's just been the way it is. And the gypsy moth invasion, of course, has been pretty big in terms of the oaks. I got one area that I hunt in northern Warren County. And you go up there and look at the trees, it literally looks like they would look, say, the second week of May, about the time we have our safari, what the hardwoods would look like, because they've just started to grow back. And that's the second year in a row that we've seen that. So we feel pretty lucky to get a couple bucks here to start things off. And that said, we haven't seen a lot of buck sign. We haven't seen a lot of rubs or scrapes, just a few, but we think the deer that made them are dead now. But same with bears. I don't know about the rest of you guys up north, but I haven't heard much of people getting any bears. The food sources are scattered pretty widely for them. And I think that goes against what DEC thought would happen this year. They thought they'd have a better early season, and maybe there's some numbers out there that I'm not aware of, but that's been it so far. One thing, we have a lot of new fishing regs. We know that statewide, but one thing that things are a little different up here. All of the Adirondack counties are not open to the new all year, or new all waters are open for ice fishing. The 9 Adirondack counties are exempt from that. And I think that's there's going to be some confusion there, but they have pointed that out in the regulation right from the first place. And then Boris Ponds, which has been a pretty contested piece of property ever since it's kind of the gem of the Finch Prine acquisition in 2007. And it was definitely, even though the chain, which where the Gully Club used to be, was argued pretty heavily, the Boris Ponds was really contested. In fact, I went to some of the meetings in Albany on that way back when, and they opened a 7-mile road into the ponds, just south of the ponds actually. And then the Halloween storm came in 2019 and wrecked it, and it hasn't been open since. And they just opened it last week, or I should say, it'll be 2 weeks on Friday. They opened it on the 14th. And they have some campsites in there that big game hunters can use. Eventually, they're going to open a spot just like they do in the Essex chain, where they have a certain part of the road that has 4 or 5 campsites on it that'll only be open during the big game season. So they are trying to accommodate hunters a little bit there. But I really wanted to get in there before the brook trout season. I couldn't go in on the 14th. They didn't even open the gate till 3 o'clock. I kept asking them, when are you going to open the gate? Because I was going to run up there that day and check it out. I wasn't going to give it up opening day of our muzzleloading season. Do that, but I was going to go up on Friday, but they never opened the gate till 3 o'clock. So, but Steve Pyatt and I were invited in there back in 2012 when they still had the building and everything that Finch Prine had used as a private lodge for wining and dining their business clients. It was really awesome. I mean, it's really a special place. I remember one time we had a conference in Lake Placid, and some people got to go to Elk Lake Lodge and do some fishing there. Well, this is just maybe 5-6 miles west of there, almost very close by, with views of the high peaks. So it's really nice. That's about it. Anything else I'll have in the newsletter that's coming out, and I'll have some info on the newsletter a little later.
I saw Schlichter there.
You're up, Tom.
Has he got his audio?
He's got his hand up.
What the hell does that mean?
I don't know.
Hauser's in there too. Hauser's in the house.
Hey guys, I'm
Everybody.
on the phone with Leo right now, so I'm just give me a second here to see if I can figure this out.
Tom, why don't you go ahead and start your report if you got audio.
I love that you still have your sunset up there, Dan. We're dark here in Vermont.
Yeah, I'm sitting by the lake, enjoying myself.
Looks good.
Warming up. 72 degrees here,
Yeah.
Tom, do you have audio? Can you talk? Can you hear us? I don't think so. You know, I'm the recording secretary and as an officer, I'm supposed to give a report. So to fill in the time, I'll give you a very short report that I had typed out. The work of the recording secretary was mainly recording minutes of both the Board of Directors and annual meetings. The one motion recorded during a March Zoom board meeting was moved by Deb and Brosen and seconded by Chris Kenyon that we purchased membership management software's growth package for a year at a cost of $425 for the year, plus 2.5% fee on all transactions. And I know that Dan is going to be talking more about that program later in the meeting. I also notified the membership at least 30 days in advance of proposed bylaws changes, which will be voted on at the annual meeting. Another duty was to send sympathy cards on behalf of the organization to families of any members or members' spouses who passed away. Respectfully submitted, Glenn Saper. So that's my report.
Glenn, how was the trip to Greece?
It was wonderful. Thanks for asking. We got back Friday evening and it was eye-opening, you know. In school, I learned about the new world and the old world. Well, I discovered how old the old world is.
Went by fast.
I'm looking for the bylaws changes that we proposed. As I'm scrolling right now, I want to print those out.
Hey, Glenn.
Yes.
So Leo's having a lot of issues getting onto his computer. He's not able to get there. So he wanted to know if you were able to, for the report, the election of officers, if you were able to cover it for him. If you didn't know, he said if you could give him a call and he can give you the info.
Okay.
He's just having issues with his computer right now.
Okay. I think I remember the information, so I think I can give that report.
I can't hear you, Glenn. I think you're muted.
Okay, I'm sorry. No, you can hear me?
Oh, gee, that was me. Sorry.
I was gonna say, I can hear him clear.
I'm having issues. I'm sorry. I'm having issues on this side. Sorry. Go ahead.
Okay, so who else was on the committee? Dave, were you on the committee?
Which committee is that?
The nominating committee?
I was on the committee.
Who, Dan?
No.
Yeah.
Who's saying I was?
I was Dan.
Yeah, okay, so if I make a mistake here, let me know, but it's been difficult in some cases to get new people into onto the slate. Fortunately, most of the incumbents have agreed to run again. And this is actually kind of, I don't know if it breaks the precedent, but typically the president runs for 2 years. And then we bring in a new president. Chris, who has done an outstanding job as president the last 2 years, has agreed to run again. So Chris is our nominee for president. Dan, again, will run for the Northern New York vice president, and Dave Fagora would run for Central Western New York vice president, and Tom Schlichter would run for Southeastern New York vice president. I have agreed to run again for recording secretary, and Leo Maloney has agreed to run for treasurer. And you'll be voting on this slate as one, if somebody so moves, or individually. But just so you know, each of the officers have a term of 1 year. Now, the other officer that I haven't mentioned is the membership secretary that had been filled by Stephen George this year. Because of personal issues in his life, it's impossible for him. He finds it impossible to agree to run again. And quite frankly, we have not come up with a nominee for that position. So right now that position is going to be open. And if anybody here might be interested in learning more about the position and maybe filling the position, let Leo know or Chris know, and we'll take it from there. As far as the board of directors goes, that their board members have a 3-year term. And every year there would typically be 2 people that would have their terms expiring. So for this year, it was Mike Hauser, who has declined to run again, and Steve Pyatt, who has agreed to run again. So Steve is on the slate, and to fill Mike's spot has been Jared Villa. Am I pronouncing his last name correctly? Gerard Villa. In any case, we thank him for agreeing to run. So that's the slate. Again, Chris, Dan, Dave, Tom, myself, Leo, and then Jared and Steve Pyatt. And I also want to mention that this slate was presented to the board of directors at its meeting a couple of weeks ago, and the board unanimously endorsed the slate. So at this point, Chris, you need to conduct a vote.
Make a motion to cast one vote for the slate as presented by Glenn. I guess the secretary would cast that vote.
Okay, I second.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, thank you. Thank you, Glenn, for stepping in on that. I
You're
appreciate it.
welcome.
Tommy, you're not, your mic's not working yet? Just checking in on you. Okay, I'm gonna take that as a no. So, I can give a little bit of Long Island, just because this is my region as well. Fishing has been really good lately. We got the fall run, so we've been seeing quite a few bass. I've gotten some amazing drone footage of big schools of big fish lately running along our beaches. So there's definitely been a lot of fish moving through. Bluefish have not been as abundant as in past years. False albacore, albies, they've been hit or miss. It's mainly weather. The biggest issue down here for us for getting on the water has just been weather. It's been super windy, really rough in the ocean, or the last 2 days it's been pea soup fog. So it's been kind of tough getting out. Our deer season opened a couple weeks ago. I know me personally, I'm not going anywhere near the woods until we get at least the frost, because the ticks down here are just brutal. So it's not enjoyable at all. I guess that's pretty much, I guess, the gist of some of what's going on down here on Long Island. If Tommy has other stuff to add, I don't know if you're able to drop it in the chat. I can add that to you as well. But moving on from there, reports of the committees. So let's see, I guess, actually, Glenn, while you're up on the screen, did you want to talk about, Tommy, you been? He's still in
I'm
space.
still taking a shower.
Sorry, Tommy. Glenn, do you want to do the EIC committee while I have you up?
Sure. Sure. Report from the Excellence in Craft Committee. The Excellence in Craft Awards program went very smoothly. There was the typical number of total entries by our members, though the magazine column category was quite low, and the board should discuss the future of this category, which we did do at the board meeting, And we'll tell you what was discussed under new business. The program was funded by the generous sponsorship of Ducks Unlimited, the Outdoor Sportsman Group, and Reading Reloading Equipment. And the annual awards banquet was to be sponsored by the National Shooting Sports Foundation. Of course, that never came off. The EIC had 17 renowned judges review the entries and their selection of award recipients in the 6 categories: newspaper feature, newspaper column, magazine feature, magazine column, online publication, and the biennial books category will be announced at our annual meeting. At that time, the awards publication will be distributed and all members are scheduled to receive a copy in the mail soon after the conference. Well, that was the report as it was written when we were going to have an annual conference. But just to update you, at the board meeting, when we made the decision to postpone our annual conference for next year and have this meeting instead for this year, I had to do a lot of fast work because as far as I knew, the awards publications were already in the mail to them. Anyway, so fortunately we were able, they hadn't gone out yet. Copies had gone to Chris to distribute at the banquet, but the copies to the members hadn't gone out, and we were able to re-instruct the printer to have them sent out so that they would not arrive before the 26th. So in the next couple of days, you'll probably be getting the awards publication in the mail. There was also a press release that was created that was sent primarily to the Outdoor Wire, the Fishing Wire, and the Shooting Wire. And that was embargoed until October 9th. But I got in touch with them right away and embargoed it until tomorrow. So for you award winners, especially if you want to see your name in print and capitalize on the publicity, I don't control it, but I believe that those 3 wires may have an item in their newsletters tomorrow, along with a link to the press release that we wrote about all the winners. So that's the report. Hey, Leo.
All right, thank you, Glenn. I appreciate it. Deb, do you want to talk about the photo awards?
Sure. So this year we had a record low number of entries in the photo competition. I had 4 judges this year. One of the amazing things that I found this year, and I didn't see in the previous years with the judging of the competition, was all of the judges seemed to pick the same photos for the winners. And I had used a scoring sheet that they said was extremely easy to follow, and it was thank you, Glenn, for assisting with recommending some of the pieces of that. And it was just amazing to me that they all chose the same photographs. They may not have chose them in the same order, but with the scoring mechanism of it, it was very easy to determine who the first, second, and third place winners were. So it's always a pleasure for me to do this competition, because I love looking at all the amazing photos that are sent in. And I don't think I could ever be one of the judges, because there are so many beautiful and so many wonderful photos that I know they must have a really tough time judging this competition. But you'll hear more about that later when we do the award presentation.
All right. All right, awesome. Thank you, Deb. Appreciate your hard work on that as well. Other committees, or is there?
Yes, I'm here, Chris.
Oh, there we go. Hey, Leo. You got in. Well, I think, well, Glenn covered our election of officers, so we're set on that. Did you want to talk about the treasury report?
Yes. Basically, the Treasury is not in trouble, but it's taken a bigger dip than many years for several reasons. We are down to 23,731. Usually it's been 27 to 29, so it's currently at 23,731, but it's going to go lower because obviously we have to pay Debbie, a couple others, so it'll be down around $20,000. Now that's not a cause for panic, but it is a cause for caution. I think that, and like I say, it's a little indefinite because we have several outstanding big bills. So I think that we're going to have to tighten our belts a bit. Now, not necessarily on the EIC, because that's subsidized. Those are all paid for. And Glenn can give a better breakdown on the cost of the booklets, things like that. But that stuff runs quite a bit. We have several anticipated expenses that are outstanding. So that's why I say right now we're at 23,731, but realistically it's going to go down a couple $1,000. The same is true with the scholarship fund. The scholarship fund is going down. That's 2,651. We've got all these different scholarships that we are given. And I think that we might look at, well, we definitely need to raise money. We haven't raised any money, part of it because of the pandemic. That's a big part. But same, and we do have a conference. We have not had people kicking in prizes. So that's been a big hurt on the scholarship fund. So I think that Dan kept saying that we're going to have to, oops, I picked out. Can you still hear me at least?
Yeah, you're good, Leo.
Yeah, all right. Suddenly I just kicked out here. I've got to. Host attendees Zoom. All right. Okay, we try this again.
Yeah, we can hear you and see you.
You can hear me and see me? All right. I
Yep,
just
yep.
got a blank screen. Okay, anyway, same is true with the scholarship fund. We've got enough to fund the things for the next year, but after that, we are going to be in trouble. So we're not going to solve it now, but I think that we're going to have to come up with some type of a separate fund. Well, we have the separate fund. I'm just saying that we have to come up with some kind of a fundraising effort for the scholarship. So that's the nuts and bolts of the Treasury's report.
All right, awesome. Thank you, Leo. All right, so let's, yeah, some of what you'll talk about, I guess we're going to come up, we'll cover in some of the committees. So committees, I know Dan, you've got a few of the committees. Do you want to go, or is there somebody does somebody else want to step up before you?
I'll just talk about the scholarship committee real quick, which I'm stepping down from. We have not had a chance to meet, and that's my fault. But I do want to get Dave Taylor, who has agreed to handle the college part of it. Deb will handle the becoming an outdoor woman part of it, and Dave Figueroa will handle the summer camp part of it, as well as serve as chair. So the four of us need to have a meeting And maybe we can talk about some of the things that that Leo just touched on in terms of whether we cut back, where we cut back or whatever. But in terms of another committee that we have wanted to form, you want me to save that for new business? Save it for new business. Conference committee, I'll talk on the conference committee. We obviously postponed the conference. Our registration was lower than ever. And then just not even like between the Friday that we had confirmed the numbers with them and the Monday morning, we lost like 5 more people. And it got to a point where it would have been more money to have the conference than it would have been to cancel it. And sadly, we had to postpone it. But I have not heard from the hotel. There's a different contact already that is supposed to be reaching out to me, scheduling. We touched on having it Mother's Day weekend or the weekend after. I think they were leaning towards Mother's Day weekend, but until I talk with this new person, then I won't know. But we are obligated by contract to have it there. So the conference committee, as I talked about in the board meeting, and I won't go on about it here, but for those of you who aren't familiar with the conference committee, we formed it in 2019 when we were in Maryland. And the reason we formed it was to encourage members in different parts of the state to chair a conference. We didn't form it to organize a conference. We formed it to help the person who was hosting a conference with some of the duties. But what's really happened is it's fallen pretty much to kind of me and Leo and a little bit of help from some other folks to make these things happen. And we do that. We just can't. I mean, for me, trying to organize a conference 5 hours away was next to impossible. And it probably would have come off okay, but it was really, really difficult without having some boots on the ground. I mean, Joe Krantz was a big help, and Leo and I and Steve and a few other people were getting together, and a few former members, Oak Duke and Jeff Murray, who writes for us with Outdoor News. You know, we had some help, but it's definitely not the same being able to go to, your local town, sitting down with somebody and putting a plan together. So we gotta talk about that some more in terms of having events. One of the things we talked about was we raised the question of perhaps moving the conference to the spring instead of the fall and having a safari in the fall. We did that in 2015, mainly because of scheduling. The place that wanted to host us wanted us in the spring, so we went there in the spring up in the Thousand Islands, and it was a hugely successful conference. Al Venus ran the whole thing and did a great job, and a lot of you that were there remember what a great event it was. Then we had a nice little safari in the fall as well, almost in the same area that Leo put together. And so we kicked around some of that, and there's something Chris will be touching on here later that'll touch more on that. But that's a question we have for membership, is whether, is it more advantageous for meet in the spring? I know there's some challenges. I think it'll prove challenging to Deb and Glenn to get their awards program together in time for that. But there may be some benefits too. It might be better for membership and renewals and things like that, and just overall communications. It definitely would be more flexible, because one of the things we're finding with scheduling for conferences in the fall is it's a pretty narrow window during a very popular time of year. We always want to hunt and fish at these, and basically you really don't have any hunting anywhere other than some waterfowl and some small game until October 1st. Then you've got deer, turkeys, depending on where you're at, and even more waterfowl activities. But now when we have it on Columbus Day, we're conflicting with the youth hunt. If we have it after Columbus Day, we're conflicting with the northern zone seasons. So that doesn't leave us a lot of options. Whereas in the spring, we might be able to get into some more theme things. Throw some examples out there. If we had something in southeastern New York, we could capitalize on striper fishing. If we had something in northern New York, we might be able to capitalize on trout fishing. Or if any time we have it during May, we have the option to hunt turkeys. So we don't necessarily have to have it in May. Maybe we could have it in June and concentrate on bass fishing. So those are the things that will come up in another discussion. That said, as for next year, we are definitely under contract go to Corning, which is in Steuben County, and have our spring safari there. And I have a couple folks that have approached me about something in the fall, but until that develops, I'll hold off on that. I think that's all I have for committees.
Okay, great. Thanks, Dan. Are there other committees? I'm actually, I think we got everything covered on committees. Am I right, Glenn? We lose Glenn?
I'm sorry. Yeah, I think we've covered all the committees.
Okay, yep. All right, so that's the committees are done. So any unfinished business?
Yes, there was something brought up at the board meeting which you were gonna act on it. At last year, we did move at the membership meeting to have a membership recruitment committee. And nothing really happened, but we talked about it at the board meeting, and that is unfinished business, which I hope you will create a committee for this year.
Yeah, I've got some ideas on that I'm working on, and yes, hopefully we can get that put together pretty soon, because I think a lot of the problems that we're facing, that we're talking about, a big part of it is just lack of recruitment. You know, we need some new faces, we need some new ideas, we need some new people. So I really do think that's important. If anybody in the room tonight is interested in that, please let me know. Like I said, we're trying to come up with some different ideas to try to recruit new people. And honestly, my personal opinion, I'd really like to target a lot of the newer writers, photographers, outdoor communicators. I think they would benefit from joining as much as I did, but I think we could benefit from some of those new ideas as well. So yeah, so that I'm definitely working on. Any other unfinished business?
Did you want me to do the demo on the joint software under that or under new business?
No, I will, because that's old business, because we did talk about this at the last previous meetings. So I think, yeah, why don't you cover that now?
Okay, can you allow me to share my screen?
Yep, we'll do.
All right, folks. One of the things we approved at a board meeting, or I can't remember if it was a board or membership meeting in March of this year, was some membership software. And I came upon this.
Try that, Dan, if that works.
Share screen.
Okay.
Oh, sorry, that's my reloading stuff. Robin's got me hooked on that. Okay, anyways, if you can see my screen, I don't know how well you can see it, but a lot of bigger clubs, organizations are going what they call membership software, and allows them to basically conduct their business beyond membership. Some of them are using it for full websites. The fishing game club I went to in the Lake George region, we have almost 700 members. And you think our membership job was tough. This guy, it's a real chore. So we looked at a couple of them. There's a couple different clubs that are using different software, and our treasurer found this app, and it's called Join It. So what it is it's membership software, communication software, and I'm just going to take you through the front door and the back door so that you'll understand where we're heading. And I'll give you a timeline when we're all done. So basically, what we will eventually have is a link from our website to this page. And this will be a members page where people can join, and they can actually see the status of their membership. They'll be able to pay for their membership. And I'm scrolling down now through some of our membership types, which are already entered in here. We'll also be able to accept payment for conference registrations. We'll be able to accept donations of any kind. We'll be able to accept payment for the EIC and photo contest. All of that can all be anything that we would receive money for will be able to be taken care of here. There's a few other things we can do that we already do on the website. We can schedule events and things like that. So this is the front door. what you would do as a member, once this is all set up, and I'll touch on that shortly, is you would just go into your membership. And now basically, this is my membership, and these are some of the fields that you see. Again, this is on the front end. This is what you will see. What each member will have to do is establish their own password. Now we have a universal membership password for the website that we all use, but you will establish your own password here. And I know that's going to confuse some folks, but we don't have their way around it. So I've created all these fields that you see, names, address, all this stuff, a second phone number if that's what we want. Some of this stuff is what's used in the directory. So Steve Pyatt, who does the directory, will basically be able to lift this information right from this. I believe we'll be able to create a database from this for him. So I've set that up so that can be all done. Added a few fields such as this one here. I saw positions, committees, current, past. So you're just telling people who you are. This is what people will be able to see. Now, on the back end, if you wanted to change your membership info, here's what you're going to see. So if you say you were a new member, you're logging in for the first time, basically when we get this set up for the first time, the only thing that's going to be in here is going to be your name and your email. From there, you can enter these fields. The ones with the red asterisks are required. And actually the email, first name and last name are also required. They're put in there. I don't even have any option for changing them. They're just automatic. So this is what you have. Like if I wanted to enter my second phone number, I could do that right here. And then you come down to all the things that you see, just like in the old paper application. You can check your specialties, whether it's hunting or camping or whatever it happens to be, your areas of expertise. You're a book author, newspaper editor, whatever it is you're doing, lecturer in Chris's case. I've added a couple here with radio. I've included podcasts. With television, I've included video, YouTube, and I've also included social media down at the bottom. That's an addition. And then there's a bio. So that's basically the back end of it. Now I'm going to go to the dashboard. I'm going to show you what it looks like from a management setup. And you'll see we have 3 total members in. And Glenn, just for the sake of it, I put New York Outdoors in as a supporting member, so you can see that. Supporting member, this is the fields they have. Membership type, supporting, renew. And basically I'm the contact for Outdoor News. So we have the option for the Twitter and Facebook feeds. We can add them for members if you want that in there. That can be added to any field. We do have the business name, business contact. Unfortunately, again, how I mentioned the fact that we have the name, first name, last name, and email, and that's mandatory. That's the way it's going to be with supporting member. We can't move the name of the business to the top. What we can do is sort them by supporting member. So we got the business website, a little bio about the business, and some of the other fields. Again, this is on the back end. This is what the people that are going to be managing this will see. If we want to look at membership types that we've created, these are them. This is what they look like from the side. The fields that are included here. Whoops, membership types. I wanted to go to supporting member and show Glenn this. These are where we select the fields. Let me see.
Yes, I got it.
Member settings, manage fields. Basically, if it's a blue thing, it's on. And if it's on the right hand, it's required. So you can see the fields. These are the options. So for supporting members, we have the bio, type of business website, all this stuff. The contact is going to be redundant because it's the same person. For new members, what I did was I put a, you know how we're supposed to have a referral if you're a brand new member and you get a referral. For that, I put if you're signing up to be a new member, a new active member, one of the fields I have in here, I don't know what that noise is, but one of the members I have in here is name of sponsoring member. At least I thought I had it in here. Yes, sponsoring, supporting sponsoring NYSOWA member. So this button up here, when you're looking at the members, I'm gonna go back to the main dashboard and where it shows the members. It says active. Some of these fields here can be like if somebody hasn't paid yet, or if they haven't been approved by the board or whatever, they won't be active in that sense. And don't get that word confused with our categories active. That's over under membership time. And again, that's just the way this company does this. So what this is going to do, and once it's all set up and once all the members are in here, members will be able to go in and update their bios at any given time. They'll be able to pay their dues, just like they would with a credit card, any time they want. They'll be able to do that automatically. No more hand checks. Same thing for conference registration again, and any fees that we have, and any donations. If we have some sort of fundraiser and people wanted to donate, we could do that. The other thing we'll be able to do here, as far as the people managing the organization, you'll be able to just send an email from the organization. And as long as everybody's email is up to date and correct, it'll go to everybody. We should be able to create lists for supporting members versus active members. So you'll have that type of flexibility. And the timeline for this is, I took the database that Steve gave me, pulled some information from that needs to be dumped into this. And then everyone that's a current member that's on that list will be in here for starters. And then we will address them with an email saying what they need to do. I'll have Chris follow that up with an email through our current system, asking them if they got the email. I know it will be redundant, but we want to make sure that this works. And this is exactly how our club, we sent a test email from this. We followed that up with our old mail from our president. And now we're just using this because we got all the kinks worked out. So the timeline is we got to get that data dump in there. But before we do that, we need to go through this program here called Stripe. And this is basically like PayPal. And this is what I need to get with Leo on, because we need to get our bank info in here. So this works with Join It for payment, and it'll take the place of PayPal, of us using PayPal. So Leo won't have to deal with PayPal anymore. All this information will be here, and I think it's going to be much easier and more presentable. And they will also take their fees, the fees that they charge us, and I can't remember exactly what they are, but we have a plan that we entered into in March. And so they take their fees as they take them. So that's all connected through here. But this is really going to simplify the membership secretary's job, very much so. It'll be up to that person to decide if they want to mail anything, hard mail, snail mail to anybody. I believe there's a membership level here. I don't think it's ours, where you can actually print a membership card, for a digital card that someone could have on our phone. I have that for my club. So if I'm up there shooting, which I was today, and somebody said, "Hey, are you a member?" I can just show them that. And so that's a handy thing. So there's other things we can do with this, but the main thing is to get it rolling. So I think that's about it. Does anybody have any questions? Really?
That looks like an outstanding system.
I think it's going to be pretty functional. It is going to cost us some money, but it'll probably be more encouraging to get someone to tackle this job, because right now we can have 3 administrators under our plan. The president for now, myself. I probably will remain an administrator because it ties to the website, but I helped set it up with our fishing game club, and then I was really no longer needed. So I said, hey, give the administrative rights to somebody that is going to use it more often. And so they did. They've, because we have the same plan. But I think our treasurer and our secretary are the ones that have it right now, and are using it. Our president uses it a lot. He sends all his emails through it and schedules things, meeting announcements, things like that. And it works out pretty good. So it's a good program. I think it's going to be easy to use, and I think it's going to simplify things for this organization. And I think it will also make the task of chasing down members to renew a little bit easier.
One thing about this, Stan, when we go to send out the test email,
Yeah.
we should probably send out 3 email. Like, let me send out an email to the membership letting them know, because with all the spam stuff that's been coming from
Yeah,
my email address, I'm sure no one's going to want to respond to it. So,
yeah,
so
just let them know they're gonna get a plethora of emails here over a certain time, and I want to have this, I want to have this all set up. By the time we do the next newsletter, which will be coming out soon, I'll let you all know the deadline here on that before too long. But maybe we can talk about that tomorrow or after, Chris, because we want to get the newsletter deadline out. And maybe we could say, hey, stay tuned for details on more membership software, something like that.
sounds good. Thanks, Dan.
Sure.
Um,
You can take my screen away if you want.
yeah, if you just want to hit stop sharing, I think it's on your side.
Oh, where am I here? Stop sharing. Oh, there we are.
Gotcha. Okay, all right, any other unfinished business?
Am I no longer sharing?
Yeah, you're good.
Okay.
All right, so on to new business. And I guess I'll start, because I know you have some new business too, Dan, right? You have. So
Just
I'll
that, yeah.
start with some new business. So just following up on what I was talking about earlier about just membership recruitment. I'm also really trying to get more membership involvement, just trying to get our members more involved with NYSOWA. So I've put together a Google form with the help of the board as like a survey to kind of see. Oh yeah, I'll get. Sorry, Tommy. Let me. I'll finish this. I'll get right back to you. I've put together with the help of the board a Google form that's a survey. I think there's maybe a dozen questions, maybe 15 questions, but it's just to try to get an idea from our membership, simple things like, why did you join NYSOWA? Have you been to a conference? Have you entered an EIC award? Just a few things to just try to get some feedback. Because again, I think maybe with the lack of involvement we get, maybe there's a reason. Maybe our members are not happy about something or a certain way we're doing things, or would like to see changes. So I think the form is complete. I plan on sending it out to the membership by Friday. And the plan is to give a month, figure by December 1st for people to fill out. I'm sure I will send out a bunch of emails to remind everybody to fill out that form. So please, if you do get that form, take a few minutes, take 10 minutes or so and just go through it. Try to answer the questions as best and honestly as you can, so that maybe we can make some changes to try to get us going in the right direction. With that, Tommy, you want to check your mic, see if it works? In space, man. It's all burgly. Can't hear anything. Sorry. So that's just something I wanted to mention. Also, just as I mentioned a little bit earlier, somebody has gone to the website and taken all the, at least as far as I know, just the directors' email addresses, and has been sending them an email from me. It's not me. If you check the email that it's coming from, it just says my name, but it's usually some odd, crazy spelling or something's really wrong. But the gist of it is they're asking you if you got a quick second to help me, or when are you free? And then when you respond, they then ask you to buy gift cards or some other money. Please, 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 please do not do any of that. Just delete it, report it as spam. If something comes to you and you're not sure, call me, give me a phone call, send me an email on the side from to my actual email address. But I will promise you, I'm not asking you anybody for money via email. So just keep that in mind going forward. And not just from me, it's just smart to check the addresses when you're getting emails from anybody. So any other new business? I think Glenn had some stuff.
Yes, I do. Thanks, Chris. Yeah, I have a few things. Actually, one, we're out of order. Let's not say that our vote, our election of all the officers and directors should be nullified, but in truth, there are some changes that are necessary because it's become increasingly more difficult to find members who are willing to run for an office or directorship. And furthermore, there are restrictions in our bylaws that further shrink the pool of qualified members. Some of these restrictions seem unnecessary regarding today's New York State Outdoor Writers Association. So over a month ago, recommended bylaw changes were sent to every member via email. And now it's up to the general membership to ratify those amendments. And I'll go over them again quickly. In Article 1, Section 1, under membership, active retired membership, it now states that that person cannot hold office. But that just doesn't seem to be valid. And just to give you an example, Dave Fagora retired from his full-time job this past year. He still does some work, but he could qualify for active retired and yet continue to do the excellent job as vice president that he's been doing. So it just doesn't seem feasible to retain that restriction. So we would, the recommendation is to delete but cannot hold office. Article 4, directors, Section 3, eligibility to hold office. It states that the person who is a citizen of the United States and a resident of New York State can hold office. And just to give you an example, Steve Pyatt has been a director of our organization for a couple of terms, apparently illegally because he lives in Pennsylvania. But he certainly can function as an outstanding director. And we're again limiting ourselves if we insist that the person be a citizen of the United States and a resident of New York State. And, you know, I could understand why somebody from Ontario or Quebec would want to be a member of our organization because of the proximity. And under the current wording, they'd be disqualified from holding office. Another one is under officers, we're suggesting that to insert at the end of Section 1, when the nominating committee identifies the necessity, members from outside of a specific geographical region may be nominated, elected, and serve as a vice president for the region in need of representation. And again, that's a case where even though Steve lives in Pennsylvania, say he became the vice president of his region, we'd want to allow him to continue to serve as vice president. Non-residents do not have the right. Right now, it says accept the right to hold office, and there's no reason again why they should not be able to hold office. On duties of officer, it now says vice president from the same region as the president. In other words, if the president resigned, the vice president from that same region would go on and to become president. And we're suggesting that it's just the word simply be changed to representing the same region as the president. So they're really simple changes. I probably made it sound more complicated than they are, but there's just no reason to limit the privileges of non-residents. So at this point, Chris, you need to call for a vote on that bylaws changes, and a majority will ratify our bylaws.
All right, so does anybody want to vote on that, on the approving the changes suggested by Glenn or the committee?
I make a motion that we accept the changes.
We have a second?
I second.
Second,
Okay, all in favor?
aye,
Aye.
I,
Anybody opposed? Okay, motion passed.
Great.
All right, thank you, Glenn.
You're welcome. I do have a couple more things that we mentioned at the board meeting. This regards the Excellence in Craft Awards program. It became, I made it known that the magazine column category has had very limited entries. In fact, as you'll see tonight, there are only a couple of award recipients because that's all the entries we had in the magazine column. And we talked about whether we should simply continue to recognize the people or the person that qualifies for that category, or whether it would make sense to combine categories, maybe moving the magazine column category into newspaper column, or and just have a column category, or maybe combine it with magazine features and have just a magazine category. It led to some other discussion. Right or wrong, a couple of years ago, we changed our very strict requirement that all entries had to be paid for to be considered for in the Excellence in Craft program to something where if you did something on your website that enhanced your business, that would be allowed to be accepted. You could write a great article on your website, and that helps attract attention and advertisers, sponsors, and so on. But the question is whether that was rightfully decided upon, and whether it should be, whether free or non-paid material should be expanded and accepted. This led to a discussion and a decision by Chris to create a Excellence in Craft Review Committee. He appointed me the chairman, and Tom Schlichter and Charlie Whittick agreed to serve on the committee. So we're going to have a committee on that. If there's anybody else who would be interested in serving on the committee, please let me know via email or phone call or text, and we'll discuss that. So that's the other thing. And then the third thing that there was no business that occurred at the board meeting is that I had spoken to Robin Sharpless, who for a long time had served as our supporting member liaison. And Robin said that he was more than willing to give up that position. And I volunteered to take on that position. I have served as a representative of a supporting member for several years. I've worked with many companies in the industry for most of my career, and I'd be happy to try to inject some vitality into that position and into our supporting membership, help to increase their numbers and help to increase the attractions that our organization can offer them. So those are the new business items that I had to mention, Chris.
Okay, excuse me. Okay, thank you, Glenn.
You're welcome.
Any other new business?
Just the fact that I proposed that we establish a fundraising committee. And it was really one of the things I was looking forward to talking about at the conference. Steve Zaharak has accepted the he's offered to be chairman of that committee. And we've kicked around some different ideas for fundraising, and most of this is for the scholarship fund. And Chris and I have talked for a little while now about having some sort of electronic fishing derby, and I'll let Chris embellish on that a little bit because he's seen the software. I've actually used the software in tournaments, and it could be something that we do annually. Another idea I've had is like perhaps an online auction or raffle down the road, of course. And once we get our supporting members more established and they have things to donate, or we purchase something, maybe we purchase some guided fishing trips or hunting trips or something like that, and we raffle them off. We have some sort of a fundraiser on online auction, online raffle. A lot of the things you've seen some of the conservation groups like Ducks Unlimited and the others do, during COVID. So the start, I mean, I'm happy to serve on the committee. I don't want to chair it because of all the other things I'm involved in, but we've kicked around some good ideas. The other is, and this is something I'm personally going to do, I usually help out a ice fishing tournament on Glen Lake every year. And we raise quite a bit of money for charity. And my suggestion is if you're involved in something like that, see if perhaps the scholarship fund or the organization could be part of that. And this tournament has raised as much as $4,000 and as much as $15,000, depending on the year and what we had going on. And the organizer of it, which is the Docksider Restaurant, which we've been to with some of our functions here. We've had a few functions there over the years. She has been looking for other sources to, to spread the wealth a little bit. And so with me being involved, when we have our meeting here to discuss the tournament in a few weeks, I'm going to ask for a donation to our scholarship fund. And I would ask the other members who might be part of something like that, do the same thing. But I think a raffle or something like that, or an online auction, or our own fishing contest, and online, virtual fishing contest, I think we might be onto something there. So Chris, I'll let you take it from there. But the last thing I'll just say is we want to get this fundraising committee going in 2023.
Yeah, so one of the things we talked about was this, like doing a fishing contest, and look, we're spread all over the state. It's hard for us to kind of like all converge on one little place. But with some of the shark research that I'm involved with here on the island, for the last 3 years now, we've been doing a fundraiser, Sharks for Balloons, Balloons for Sharks, I'm sorry. And it's a balloon collecting tournament, and people just go out and pick up balloons. And it's just for us, so it's a way to bring awareness of the problem with balloons. And again, a way for us to make some money. It was a $25 entry fee. We've been using a program called Fish Donkey. It's an app. I'm not thrilled with the name, but it works really well. It takes no time. We do not have to do any weigh-ins or anything. People just take pictures holding up balloons and they log them that way. And this last year, I think we picked up, it was close to 2,400 balloons from various people that were going out, beach, land. It didn't matter. It wasn't just water. It was, if they were in the woods, they could find balloons. And it's worked really well for us. They take a fee off the top. I think it was like $1 an entry, but we did nothing. We gave them the bank, stuff, and all the money just got right deposited into our account. We did nothing, except do a press release in the beginning and at the end and kind of promote it. So that was something I talked about, Dan, maybe doing like an ice fishing tournament that's mostly statewide. Us down here on the island, we'd be really limited on when we could do ice fishing. I think I got out for a day last year. But again, it was just something we were talking about. So yeah, so if anybody's interested in getting involved on this committee, I think it's something that's, again, important, giving back to the future, and we definitely need the future writers, photographers, lecturers to be supported like we were. So if anyone's interested, either reach out to myself or Dan, and we will we'll get you more involved with that committee. Thanks, Dan. Thanks for bringing all that stuff up. I definitely appreciate it. And like I said, hopefully we can get somebody to sit on that. Is there any other new business that we need to discuss? I believe that is a no. So does anybody have a motion to? Oh, hold on. What do we got?
Motion to adjourn.
Is that what you were trying to say there, Bill? Isn't okay?
Hear me okay?
We have two Bill Hills Juniors here.
Yeah. The screen is big, but the microphone doesn't work as well.
Gotcha. All right, so we have a motion to adjourn. Do we have a second? Debbie seconds that motion. So all in favor?
Aye.
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 All
Aye.
opposed? All right, the meeting's adjourned. But don't go anywhere, because now we have the awards portion of this. Normally when we have our annual conference, these are two separate things. We have dinner, have a nice award ceremony, and then we do the meeting after that. But we're going to do our awards now. But actually, Bill, while I have you on the screen, I'm going to have you go first.
Me?
Yeah.
Can you hear me okay?
I can definitely hear you.
But can you hear me okay?
Yeah, you sound pretty clear.
What's funny is that your frame shows that you're muted, but we can hear you.
He's got two sessions going.
I got two screens.
Yeah, so I hear you just fine, Bill.
Okay, so I'm gonna be giving away a couple awards here. The first one is gonna be the Pass It On Award. And one thing that we need to try to do in the future, I need to do a better job too, but you know, as members of this organization, we should all think about possible nominations for future awards recipients. And we were struggling a little bit to come up with qualified entrants, nominations. And we do have some good ones this year, but you know, from the standpoint of moving forward, there's still a lot of people, not only just our members, but people that we are associated with in our various areas across the state that are deserving for some of these awards. So the first one is the Pass It On Award, which was initiated by Bass Pro Shops back in 2006. This annual award honors the person who has done the most to pass on our outdoor heritage and is given to active members of the New York State Outdoor Writers Association. Both Bass Pro Shops and NYSOWA have recognized the fact that it is vital to pass on our outdoor heritage, including understanding the role of conservation and promoting an interest in our outdoor sports. This can be done in a number of ways, such as creating awareness through writing, helping organizations that promote these activities, and directly being involved in mentoring and educating. This year's award winner was a teacher at Wildwood Education Center, and he did that for over 35 years. He was a hunter education instructor and a SERP instructor for sport fishing. That's Sport Fishing Aquatic Resources Education Program. He ran several Jake's events with the National Wild Turkey Federation and youth fishing contests through the years. And we're just scratching the surface here. This year's 2022 Pass It On Award goes to Mike Warren of Hornell. So congratulations, Mike. I know Mike was on early. Can you guys see that?
Yep, I can see that there. Actually, let me hold on a second. I'm going to put you on a bigger screen so we can so everyone can see it here. I think there's a way to do that.
And if you put it on a bigger screen, leave it there because I for the next award as well.
Yep, you're right. I think it's working. At least on my side, I see it. Has everyone else got that? Cool.
Okay, is Mike still on?
I don't believe so.
I know he was on early because I saw him pop in.
Yeah, I'm not seeing him here now though.
He's probably taking a kid out coon hunting. He was going to struggle to make it over to our Corning conference because he had to take his grandson for the youth deer hunt that weekend. So he was going to make it over. I talked him into it, but hopefully he can come over in May and reacquaint himself with everybody.
Did he know that he was getting the award? Did you tell him that?
Well, I did because I was trying to get him to come onto the Zoom and let him know that he was going to be an award recipient. So yeah, it wasn't going to be a surprise. And then I got one more award here, the 2022 NYSOWA M. Paul Kiesler New York Outdoor Citizen Award is given annually to an individual or organization that has effectively raised the public's awareness of outdoor recreation opportunities and conservation issues in New York State. The award was created to honor worthy individuals and organizations, at the same time perpetuating the name of one of NYSOWA's dearest members. The late M. Paul Kiesler spent nearly 5 decades promoting and conserving the outdoor wonders and recreational opportunities within New York, beginning with outdoor columns for the Utica Observer Dispatch and progressing to the popular New York Sportsman magazine. Kiesler and his magazine's contributors enlightened and educate readers statewide and beyond to the wild treasures of the Empire State. Kiesler also wrote books on canoe fishing, New York waterways, and on his beloved West Canada Creek and Mohawk Valley. This year's recipient is not an individual, but a club. This for the first time. If you attended the Long Island Conference a few years ago, you know the club we're talking about, the Peconic River Sportsman's Club. They have a long and rich history of promoting the values and traditions of participating in outdoor sports. They achieve this through a proactive philosophy of preserving the past and enriching the future. They have a long list of accomplishments, too numerous to mention here, and are active supporters of the local community as well. The club's members are the epitome of a world-class outdoor sporting club whose mission goes beyond the boundaries of traditional outdoor sports. Please join me in congratulating the Peconic River Sportsman's Club as the 2022 M. Paul Kiesler New York Outdoor Citizen Award recipient. And incidentally, Angelo Peluso and Chris Paparo will be presenting this award to the club at its December meeting. And this is the plaque. If everybody can see it okay.
Yep.
And that's all I have, Mr. President.
That was great. Thank you. Yeah, and me and Angela will definitely make sure to give that to them at their next meeting. So thanks, Bill. I appreciate it. Next, I guess Deb, you want to go next?
Okay with you, Glenn?
Or yeah, I don't know if there's an order, but
I don't know.
Do it.
Okay.
Okay, so I'm gonna share the screen here for Deb.
So for those of you that don't know me, I haven't met yet. I have chaired the photo competition for at least 5 or 6 years now. And as I said earlier in the meeting, it's such a pleasure for me to do because I absolutely love looking at all the photos that come in. As an artist, I can appreciate the beauty of these photos, and there's often photos that I would like to paint. So I don't know which category is first, Chris. So typically, the first place winners for the past few years have received a feather painting done by me. And the second and third place winners receive a check from NYSOWA. So in the hunting and fishing category, the third place winner is Chris Paparo for this aerial view of a man ice fishing. And as I mentioned earlier, I had 4 different judges this year, and they gave me comments on some of the photos. So wherever they wrote specific comments, I'm just going to share that with you. This photo was chosen because of the great lighting in the picture and the creative angle. The second place winner in this category is Angelo Peluso, and the top things that was the reason for choosing this picture was the bright colors and the creative angle. And then the first place winner in the hunting and fishing category is Bill Hiltz Jr. And this happens to be one of my favorite photos. And I asked Bill for permission to paint this picture. And lucky for me, he's going to allow me to do that. And this one was chosen for the great composition. It says that the dog's eyes were totally in focus, and it was very colorful. The next category. Oh, and I should say, this year I had mentioned that I had done specific paintings designed for the specific person that was receiving them. And for Bill's painting, I chose to do someone fishing, standing fishing in like a stream. And whoever is receiving an award should receive it within the next couple days because they have been shipped out. So in the wildlife category, the third place winner is Paul Schnell for the close-up of this raptor. The second place winner, and I'm not sure, do you go by Peter Cody or Cody?
Either one is fine. Peter Cody works for
Okay.
me.
I was kind of struggling with that on how to do that. So it's nice to meet you. So this one, I really enjoyed the comments on this. The photographer, the judge said that the sheep is tack sharp. He said it has excellent color and lighting, and he really enjoyed viewing this picture. And the first place winner for the wildlife category is Chris Paparo for his hummingbird picture, which they also mentioned that the eye in the bird is extremely sharp and perfectly in focus. It has superb color and lighting, and they knew that this would be a very difficult picture to get because of how fast hummingbirds are. And I can attest to that because I tried to get some photos of mine this summer and could not do it. And for Chris's painting, I did a set of wood ducks because of the wood duck boxes that you're always posting pictures about. And actually that painting I really did not want to part with. Next category for outdoor scenic. Chris Paparo is also the third place winner of this one for his rainbow picture. The photographers thought that this had excellent composition and it was just overall a beautiful photo. The second place for the scenic category is Cody Fiducia. This happened to be one of my favorite pictures too, because of the colors and the composition. And the first place winner for the scenic category is Charles Wittick. The photographer, or the judges, I keep saying photographers because they're all professional photographers who judged the competition, felt that this had a very strong composition and they loved the dark against the light. And for Charles, I did a picture of a swordfish jumping out of the water. The next category for outdoor action, the third place goes to Dave Figuera. And as I said earlier, I didn't get comments on every single picture. So I didn't get comments on a couple of these, including this one. The second place was also Dave Figuera for the man on the paddleboard. And I think, is that your son, Dave? Because I think I've seen this picture before. And then the first place went to Paul Schnell, and the judges liked the interaction that they felt between the man and the bird in this picture. So if you don't know Paul, he is, I think, like a raptor rehabilitator. So I did a picture of an eagle. And it's done on a feather, a wing feather of a turkey, which resembles, oh, I'm sorry. No, that's the next one. Never mind. That's done on a turkey feather, but not the wing feather. I'm speaking out of turn here. So next category, please. For the people category, the third place goes to Angelo Peluso. And again, they liked the composition and the interaction that they said you could feel between the men in the picture. The next, the second place goes to Bill Hiltz Jr. And the photographer or the judges commented that this man looks like he could tell a really good hunting story. And that's what it's all about. And the first place goes to Paul Schnell. They liked the connection that it looked like the young girl had with the bird. And this one I did of an owl on the wing feather of a turkey, which resembles the feathers of an owl. And that is it. So I wanted to thank everyone who entered the competition. Again, it's always a pleasure for me to chair this and to see all the great photos that you guys are out there taking. I try to do photography, and I guess I'll just stick with painting.
All right, thank you, Deb. That is awesome, and I can't wait to see the feather art that comes from it. So
Yeah, I want to see what you think of it.
awesome. So thank you so much for that. And then we've got Glenn with the EIC Awards. You should be able to share your screen, Glenn. It should be all set. I think you're muted, Glenn. There we go. Nope. Still muted, Glenn.
Just tell them to shout really loud.
You can hear me now, right?
Now we got you. There we go.
Okay. All right. I'll just preface this by saying that I want to recognize the sponsors who so generously support this program and allow us to give the outstanding prizes and pay for the administration of the program. And those sponsors are in alphabetical order: Ducks Unlimited, the Outdoor Sportsman Group, which it's the largest outdoor media company in the country. We used to say Sportsman Channel sponsored it, but Sportsman Channel is part of the Outdoor Sportsman Group, and Reading Reloading Equipment. Those are our three sponsors, and I thank all of them for their support. So without further ado, we'll get into the categories. And the first one will be newspaper feature.
You need to share your screen, Glenn.
Oh, gosh. Okay, let me go back to that then. Okay, am I sharing it now?
Nope.
Hmm.
Let me see. I could see if I can find it in my email.
I got it now, I think. Well, does that work now?
Yep, there we go.
Okay, I'm sorry.
No, it's okay. So if you just want to put it on slideshow.
Yeah, now you're talking to the non-technological man here, so.
At the top, go to the
I'm
top.
sorry. But okay, we're all set? Okay,
Yeah.
so the first category the first category is newspaper feature. And we'll go from third place to second place to first place. Third and second place get certificates, just like you'll see on the screen, plus checks. And first place gets an outstanding waterfowl carving mounted on a mahogany or cherry base with an engraved plate that commemorates the article, title, and publication, and so on. So, yeah. So,
Glenn, I do
yes.
have one of the decoys to show when you're done.
Okay, thank you, Bill. I appreciate it.
Okay.
The carvings are produced by Bill Suter, who is in Western New York, and Bill Hiltz Jr. is always kind enough to pick up the decoys and deliver them to the conference. This year he got stuck with them because there was no conference. So after we announced these awards, Bill has graciously agreed to ship the carvings to the recipients. The recipients are going to be responsible for the shipping charges. The certificates and checks for second and third place will be sent to the recipients at the expense of New York State Outdoor Writers Association.
And
So,
it'll be in the mail tomorrow morning.
yeah, that's great. Thank you, Chris. Yeah, Chris got stuck with that because there's no conference. In any case, newspaper feature, the first. Okay, in third place is David Fagora for Angler Enjoys the Challenge, Funny Side of Catching Fish, that appeared in the Post Standard, August 5th, 2021. Congratulations, Dave. And there was a tie this year. Fortunately, I received votes or scores from the judges that allowed me third place for Turkey Hunting Strategies for Seniors, which appeared in New York Outdoor News on April 2nd. And second place goes to Paula Pyatt for her article, Is Professional Training Necessary for a Well-Oiled Machine? That appeared in Pennsylvania Outdoor News on August 13th. And first place goes to Tom Schlichter, Angling for the Perfect Lure, in Newsday, June 20th, 2021. Congratulations, Tom. Then we go on to the magazine feature. And third place, Tom Schlichter again, for Bahamas Bone Fishing, Southern Boating and Yachting, April 2021. Whoops. Second place goes to Tom again, Secrets of Bottom Fishing, Southern Boating and Yachting, June 2021. And first place goes to Paul Schnell for his article Chasing, which appeared in Outdoor Life #4 issue 2021. Now the newspaper column. Third place, again, I received it. I was very pleased. For Here and There, Now and Then, Losing Things, Especially Afield, in New York Outdoor News, September 17th. Second place, Getting Around, Thankful for Thanksgiving Day Hunts, New York Outdoor News, November 13th, 2021. You know, there was something I wanted to mention, that we have many first-time enterers in the program this year, and I was very pleased with that. And although you've heard mainly familiar names, although Paul Schnell, I don't know if he's won in recent years in the Excellence in Craft, you'll be hearing a few other names before the evening's over. So I'm very happy to get that, to see that we have more and more members entering, and that they're receiving their due recognition. So second place, we have Dan Ladd, Getting Around, Thankful for Thanksgiving Day Hunts, New York Outdoor News, November 13th. Congratulations, Dan. First place, Steve Pyatt, Still Out There, Dreaming of the Decks, Morning Times, August 19th, 2021. Then we go on to the magazine column category, and we have Tom Schlichter in second place. Northeast Seaboard, New Study Could Impact Fishery Stock Assessment, appeared in Southern Boating and Yachting, January 2021. In first place, Tom Schlichter, Northeast Seaboard, Cape Cod's Great White Shark Activity, Southern Boating and Yachting, June 2021. Move on to online publication. And this is a newcomer to the program. I'm very happy to award third place in the online publication category to Megan Pleat Postal. I don't know if I'm pronouncing your middle name or last name correctly. I hope I am. But congratulations. That's for BOW, Becoming an Outdoors Woman Weekend, offers women opportunity for challenge and learning. Adirondack Explorer, October 19th, 2021. Second place, David Fagora, One Man Solitary Life of Trapping, Smoking, and Selling Eels on the Delaware River, NYUP.com, August 29th, 2021. And first place goes to David Fagora. Finger Lakes Land Trust began as Cornell Master's Degree Project, now covers 26,000 acres, NYUP.com, October 13th, 2021. And I just mentioned at this time that when we get the engraved plates for the first place awards, we pay by the letter. So I have to admit, I wasn't happy to see this particular story get first place, but we broke the bank on it. Now we're talking about book. And third place goes to Doug Goodman, who has not entered, or at least not entered in recent years. And he gets third place in the book category for Autumn Footsteps, A Hunter's Journey, Newman Springs Publishing, 2020. Second place goes to another one of our new enterers, Joseph Gary Krantz, second place in the book category, The Master of Hounds, Lulu Publishing Services, 2021. Joe and I have developed a relationship over the last year or two, and I've very much enjoyed reading his books and feel that they definitely are deserving of awards. And first place also goes to Joseph Gary Krantz for The Forest Ghost, a Ryland Creek novel, Lulu Publishing Services, 2021. Congratulations, Joe. And we thank our sponsors again, Ducks Unlimited, Outdoor Sportsman's Group, and Reading Reloading Equipment. And that concludes the EIC awards.
There we go. Thank you, Glenn. Thanks for chairing that and putting that all together. It's great to see new faces, new names in the awards category. So that's congratulations to all the winners. But with that, I believe that brings us to the end of our awards and meeting for tonight. So,
Hey, Chris,
yes,
put the screen on me so that you
Right.
can see the decline by
Oh,
Bill.
there you go. You should be up there now.
Yeah, I'm sorry I didn't mention it, Bill, and introduce you.
Okay, you're good, Bill.
Can you see it?
You got to hold it up. Up a little higher.
Oh, yeah.
Hide your face. There we go.
Yeah, I know. That's usually the request.
That's what the first place award looks like.
Awesome.
And a grave plate will go on the side of that mounted base, the base. What species is that, Bill? Do you know?
Oh, let me look.
Looks like a blue wing.
Blue wing teal.
Great, beautiful.
Yeah, he does a great job.
Yeah, and thanks for taking care of shipping it. It's really a big chore, and I appreciate it.
You can buy me a beer.
Okay. Geneseo.
Well, again, thanks everybody for coming out tonight. I'm really bummed that this did not happen in person, but stay tuned for details. We will be doing something in person in May. If you have not been to one of these outings, meetings, although being that we did all of the business stuff, I don't know what we're going to do at this meeting. It might just be a more fun, more of a safari, I guess, at that point. But either way, if you haven't been to one of these, they are a lot of fun. It's a great group of people that share common interests. And I'll be honest with you, the hunting and fishing is great. The scenery is great, but just honestly, hanging out and catching up with people is what I enjoy most about it. So I hope if you haven't gone to one of these, you'll definitely try to join us in Corning this May. And again, check your email for a bunch of stuff that'll be coming in the coming days. So thanks, everybody.
Check the Outdoor Wire tomorrow. Hopefully you'll see an item about our EIC awards and photo awards in there.
And thanks to all the board members for everything that you do and putting all this together tonight. I really appreciate it. And the organization thanks you as well. So have a good night, everybody.
Thank you. Good night.
All right.
Dr. Griffith.